Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday Dhamma session. Before we start our reading, we'll pay respects to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to him, blessed one, the fully enlightened. Buddham Dhammam Saṅgham. And today we are going to read about a few suttas on the topic happiness. And this I'm sharing from Sutta Friends website, where we can select the topic and it gives different suttas from the Sutta Pitaka that come under one particular topic. So here I have chosen, these are the different topics. I have chosen happiness this time. So we'll read a few suttas on happiness and also a couple of suttas before and after the sutta, because in the same context of the sutta, it's giving different perspectives. So we'll try and read those suttas today. We'll start the reading. And this is from Samyukta Nikaya 15.12. Sukhita Sutta. The happy person. Is your happiness unique? This is how I heard. At one time, the Blessed One was living in the city of Savatthi, in Jetta's park at Anantapindika's monastery. The Blessed One addressed the monks, saying, "O monks, Bhante." Those monks replied. The Blessed One said, "Monks, this cycle of rebirth is endless. The beginning of this extremely long journey cannot be discovered. These beings, hindered by lack of knowledge of the true nature of life and bound by craving, roam and wander on in this endless journey. Monks, whenever you see anyone beautiful, very rich and happy, you can conclude we too have enjoyed comforts in the exact same way, many times in this long journey. What is the reason for that? It is because, monks, this cycle of rebirth is endless. The beginning of this extremely long journey cannot be discovered. These beings, hindered by lack of knowledge of the true nature of life and bound by craving, roam and wander on in this endless journey. For such a long time, monks, you have experienced various types of sufferings, tragedies, and disasters. You have filled the cemetery with your dead bodies. Therefore, monks, the time has come for you to understand the meaningless nature of all conditioned things. The time has come for you to become detached from them, and the time has come for you to be liberated from them. So, this sutta is actually where Buddha is talking to monks about the endless cycle of rebirth. So, definitely, when you see someone who is very beautiful, very rich, and happy, we can say that even sometime in the past, maybe in our past rebirth or in our endless cycle of rebirths, some number of times we might have also experienced similar kind of comforts, richness, and beautiful and happy. And yet, having been in this samsara for so long, experiencing this samsara for so many rebirth after rebirth, we are still having this rebirth continuing with ignorance and craving for our continued existence, or maybe holding on to as something permanent. And we keep this endless cycle going through craving. And Buddha here is saying that we have filled a cemetery full with our own dead bodies. And it's endless cycle of samsara. So we might have a reborn like thousands of times maybe. And we have to understand that this nature of rebirth and all these conditioned phenomena, that they are impermanent. And the moment we understand it, we get detached from it. We are no longer attached. That means there are no more craving arising. And then we can come out of this rebirth and put an end to the rebirth of the samsara. Come out of this samsara. So here the Buddha is also asking us to put the right effort. Keep remembering that each and every moment, every action that you're doing, either through body, speech, or mind, is going to add up into your next rebirth. If you're doing wholesome rebirth, and then if you're doing it with noble eightfold path, then gradually there is a time when we break out of this samsara and attain arhanship. So we need to keep remembering this, that this rebirth is very difficult. We might have experienced so much of suffering. We might have experienced disasters. We might have experienced so much of uh, all dissatisfactions. Yet we keep clinging our minds to our body, to something that is pleasant, and we keep attachments. So for the rebirths to be stopped, or for us to get liberated, Buddha is asking us to understand the truth of all conditioned phenomena, that is impermanence, suffering, and they are all non-self, and be detached from them. Being detached from them, we get liberated. And of course, all this could be possible only through the practice of right effort. And the right efforts, Bhante Vimalaramsi has given us a wonderful formula, the 6 R's. Just recognizing, releasing it, relaxing, re-smile, and returning to the object of meditation, and repeating it whenever needed. Sounds simple as long as you keep doing. Once you forget, it becomes difficult. We want to keep this practice going. And there is one more sutta. Now we have read a sutta called Sukhita Sutta. And then there is another sutta called Duggata Sutta, the happy person and the poor person. Anybody would like to volunteer to read?
I think Nanda Madam can read.
Okay. Anamataga Samutya Nikaya 15.11 Dugata Sutta. The poor person. Is our suffering unique? This is how I heard. At one time, the Blessed One was living in the city of Savatthi in the Jeta's Park at Anathapindika's monastery. The Blessed One addressed the monks, saying, O monks, Bhante, Those monks replied. The Blessed One said, "Monks, this cycle of rebirth is endless. The beginning of this extremely long journey cannot be discovered. These beings, hindered by lack of knowledge of the true nature of the life and bound by craving, roam and wander on in this endless journey. Monks, whenever you see anyone ugly, very poor, and depressed, you can conclude we too have suffered in the exact same way many times in this long journey. What is the reason for that? It is because, monks, this cycle of rebirth is endless. The beginning of this extremely long journey cannot be discovered. These beings, hindered by lack of knowledge of the true nature of life and bound by craving, roam and wander on in this endless journey. For such a long time, monks, you have experienced various types of suffering, tragedies, and disasters. You have filled the cemetery with your dead bodies. Therefore, monks, the time has come for you to understand the meaningless nature of all conditioned things. The time has come for you to become detached from them, and the time has come for you to be liberated from them.
Yes, Madam. It's a similar sutta giving us a different perspective. When we are looking at only the wholesome side, like when we see happy people or the rich people, here it's also seeing about the ugly, the poor, and the depressed one. So it's a reminder that we can practice in our daily life, where we see whenever in our home or when we go outside, we can see all different kind of people. When we see them, when there is a contact arising, we know that we might also have n number of lives in the same way. It should be like a reminder and to push us or to inspire us to keep the practice going. It's been a long, extremely long journey of this samsara, and we have to break through this samsara through the Noble Eightfold Path, through the practice of right view, right effort, right mindfulness, and through right lifestyle. And then continuing the practice of right collectedness, it's definitely possible. Madam, do you want to add something?
And then that is very true. The saṁsāra is endless and beginningless. So thanks to Bhante Vimala, we have come across the Metta 6R technique, which helps us to weaken the craving and experience the detachment from the attachment to actually suffering. When we are attached to craving, another way of saying is that maybe because of the endless samsara, we have unconsciously become attached to suffering. So with the practice of 6R, we have a golden opportunity to weaken our attachment to craving and create some kind of a happiness in this lifetime. It is a very beautiful topic you have chosen. Thank you very much.
Anybody has something to share regarding these two suttas? or shall we continue? Okay, let us continue. So there is another sutta on the same topic of happiness called Asankheya Sutta or Incalculable. Of course, we have heard this in different ways, but here in this sutta, it's giving uh, some other information as well. Let's read. Chayaji, can you read?
The Asankhaneya, you said, right?
Yes.
Asankheya Sutta, the incalculable. How do we create happiness? My voice is clear enough?
Yes.
All right, okay. Monks, there are 4 kinds of streams of merit and streams of wholesomeness that generate happiness. What 4? It's when a noble disciple has unshakable confidence in the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Saṅgha, and he has the virtue loved by the noble ones, leading to concentration. These are the 4 kinds of streams of merit and streams of wholesomeness that generate happiness. When a noble disciple has these 4 kinds of streams of merit and streams of wholesomeness, it's not easy to measure how much merit he has by saying, this is the amount of happiness generated by his stream of merit and the stream of wholesomeness. His merit is simply incalculable, immeasurable, and is vast. It's like trying to measure how much water is in the ocean. It's not easy to say how many bucketfuls, how many hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of buckets there are. It's simply incalculable, immeasurable, and is a great mass of water. In the same way, when a noble disciple has these 4 kinds of streams of merit and streams of wholesomeness, it's not easy to measure how much merit he has by saying, this is the amount of happiness generated by his stream of merit and stream of wholesomeness. His merit is simply incalculable, immeasurable, and is vast. This is what the Buddha said. Then the Blessed One further said, the great ocean, which holds a huge quantity of water, is the home to many precious gems. All the rivers that flow through villages finally reach the great ocean, which is deep and terrifying. So too, when a person gives food, drink, and clothes, and he's a giver of beds, seats, and mats, the streams of merit reach that wise person, just as the river brings their water to the great ocean.
Yes, Chayaji, thank you for reading. So here Buddha is talking about how do we create happiness, or what's the merit that we are making. And sometimes I feel this merit is something that safeguards or protects us from getting into extreme kind of suffering, and it's kind of cutting off a lot of suffering and letting us flow through the suffering in a harmonious way, not going like high highs and low lows, but it's a softer and smoother flow of life. And this merit, how do we generate it, or how do you measure it? And Buddha says it's incalculable to measure this kind of merit. And there are 4 streams of merit, or that generate happiness. That is, Buddha says, when noble disciples, this is Hariya Pugala, uh, a practitioner of the Buddha who has faith in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Saṅgha, and also he's keeping his precepts, and who is being loved by the noble ones, and practicing the Eightfold Path that is leading to concentration. When he has these four kinds of streams of merit, then all these streams of wholesomeness generate greater amount of happiness. So this happiness is incalculable when you practice the Noble Eightfold Path. So here the Buddha then goes on and says, it's not easy to measure the merit, this happiness that is generated through these streams of merit, and it is simply incalculable. It's difficult, immeasurable, and vast like an ocean. Here he compares the merit, streams of merit, to ocean, and the happiness that is generated through the streams and then the ocean. And the quantity of water in the ocean is definitely not calculable. And then the Buddha says the amount of happiness generated is through the streams of merit, through the faith, unshakable faith in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Saṅgha, through the practice of virtuous behavior and the Noble Eightfold Path. The happiness is vast, immeasurable. So Buddha further goes on and gives us these stanzas, comparing it with the ocean. The great ocean, which holds a huge quantity of water, is the home to many precious gems. All the rivers that flow through villages finally reach the great ocean, which is deep and terrifying. So too, when a person gives food, drink, and clothes, and he is a giver of beds, seeds, and mats, the streams of merit reach that wise person, just as a river brings their waters to the great ocean. So, the practice of generosity, that the stream of generosity that flows, will ultimately add up to the happiness into the great ocean. And the Eightfold Path, the virtuous behavior, dana, sila, and then the practice of concentration or the collectedness, bhavana. So it's not like we practice only dana or we practice only sila or we practice only samadhi. We practice all of the Eightfold Path together. Then only we understand all of the Four Noble Truths as it is. We can see them, we can experience them, the three characteristics of existence, how the impermanence is getting hit, why the people are suffering, how we are suffering, what's the present truth of the present, and how our mind is clinging to something else, maybe in the past or in the future. All these things come when we start practicing gradually, and the practice of Noble Eightfold Path is the key to come out of suffering. So this was one sutta that we read, and there is another sutta, similar sutta, Dutya Asankheya Sutta. How similar sutta? Let's read it. Gopinath sir, can you read? I'll read. Yes, sir.
Hello,
We can hear
can
you.
you hear?
Yes.
I am reading. Monks, there are four kinds of streams of merit and streams of wholesomeness. Streams of merit and that generate happiness. What for? The first is I'm reading from my mobile, that is why. When a noble discipline as unshakable confidence, this is the first kind of stream of merit, and the stream of wholesomeness that generates happiness. The second is when a noble disciple has unshakable confidence in the Dhamma. This is a stream of merit and stream of wholesomeness that generates happiness. The fourth one, is when a noble disciple lives at the stain of stinginess, ready to give, open-hearted, with the desire to give, committed to charity, loves to give and share. This is the fourth kind of stream of merit and stream of wholesomeness that generates happiness. These are the generate happiness. Now this. When a noble disciple has these four kinds of streams of merit and the streams of wholesomeness, it is not easy to measure how much merit he has by saying this is the amount of happiness generated merit he has by saying this is the amount of happiness generated by stream of merit. Monks, there are places where the great rivers, the Ganges, Yamuna, Isravati, Sarabati, and Mahi come together and meet. It is not easy to measure how much water is in such places by saying how many buckets full, how many hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of buckets full there are. It is simply incalculable, immeasurable, and a great mass of water. When a noble, in the same way, when a noble disciple has these four kinds of streams of merit and streams of wholesomeness, it is not easy to measure how much merit he has by saying this is the amount of happiness generated by stream of merit and stream of wholesomeness. His merit simply is incalculable, immeasurable, and is vast. That is what the Buddha said. Then the Blessed One further said, the great ocean which holds a huge quantity of water is the home to many precious gems. All the rivers that flow through villages finally reach the great ocean, which is deep and terrifying. So too, when a person gives food, drink, and clothes, and he is a giver of bed, sheets, and mats, the stream of merit reach that person just as the river bring their water to the great ocean. Over.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
I am reading from mobile, that's why I cannot read.
Okay. But you
No
read,
laptop.
yeah. Now at the end, you know how to read, and it's easy to manage it on your screen. I have made the font larger. You will learn gradually. So it's a similar kind of sutta. Here, the Buddha is talking about the four kinds of streams of merit and streams of wholesomeness that generate happiness. The first three being the unshakable confidence in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Saṅgha. And the fourth being the generosity, like when a noble disciple leaves at home, rid of stain of stinginess, ready to give, open handed, with the desire to give, committed to charity, loves to give and share. And when you read this fourth the stream of merit that generate happiness, and there are few words with match that matches with the Metta Sutta as well, where it says open-handedly and have few desires. That person who generates them, who guards the mind, who has few desires, who has their mind well established in the Dhamma, and then who is ready to uh, practice of generosity, and who is ready to let go of the hindrances that are coming up, whose stain of stinginess is being removed. And all these are just the qualities of the noble disciples, like the Arya Bukkala. So when we practice metta, the starting of the Metta Sutta itself, it says the main characteristics that are needed for a person who is practicing the loving kindness. And all these we need not put forth effort and generate. The feeling does it by itself. So the practice of Metta Bhavana itself makes us keep our virtuous behavior, being kind to all the people, being giving open-handed, open-mindedness in our practice, and then letting go, not being attached, and to keep the practice of generosity, of loving kindness, or anything like that you want to give. Then, if the intention is set up right, once the intention is there, it just keeps radiating. And I remember Bante saying, you don't need to have something to give with you whenever you want to practice. You always have your feeling of loving kindness to share with. So you're going in a car, saw someone far away, you're in traffic and you can't go and help them. Yet staying there, if there is a red signal, you can pause and just radiate the feeling of loving kindness. At least for a moment, that being's mind will get uplifted. So we always have this loving kindness that we can give and share. So these are the four kinds of streams of merit that generate the streams of wholesomeness. And the unshakable confidence in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and Saṅgha. When we take refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Saṅgha, remembering the qualities of the Buddha, remembering the quality of the teachings, the Dhamma, which is inviting to experience it by themselves, It's not like a belief, oh, this is right, this is how it is, just the statement and you just blindly believe. It's not like that. The Dhamma is to be experienced within the mind. And the Saṅgha, the four kinds of peoples, they are worthy of honoring, worthy of respect. And when we have the faith, every time we take the refuge, we remember all of these qualities of Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Saṅgha. And from there, we keep our practice going. We walk on the path of the Noble Eightfold Path. Then the Buddha says, it's very difficult it's incalculable and immeasurable to calculate the amount of happiness that is generated due to these four kinds of streams of merit. And the Buddha here gives an example of a Ganges, different kinds of rivers coming and meeting together. And it's not easy to measure the amount of water from that, different rivers. So all these waters, when they come together, it's difficult to measure. And simply they are immeasurable, and there's a great, huge mass of water coming. The same way, when we have these four kinds of streams that we are practicing, the merit that we are generated through these states of wholesomeness is immeasurable. And the happiness generated by these streams because of the wholesomeness is also immeasurable. And the Buddha, when here says the great ocean, which holds a huge quantity of water, is the home to many precious gems. All the rivers that flow through villages finally reach the great ocean, which is deep and terrifying. So too, when a person gives food, drink, and clothes, and has a giver, he is a giver of beds, seats, and mats. The stream of merit reach that wise person, just as the river brings their water to the great ocean. And when I heard this particular word, gems, precious gems in it, actually, there is another sutta called Ratana Sutta, where the three precious gems are the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Saṅgha. So there is no great treasure, no precious gem than the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Saṅgha. So we'll be always grateful for the Buddha to put forth the teaching, for letting us understand the Four Noble Truths, to establishing the Noble Eightfold Path. And we are so grateful that the Saṅgha is still keeping the teachings alive. And due to the technology today available, we are able to read the suttas readily in our hand and practice the meditation. It's really incredible. And the happiness, the gratitude that we are feeling through the practice is also incalculable. Let's see the next sutta on the topic of happiness. In the Dhammapada, there is a chapter on happiness, which is called Sukhavagga. So there are few stanzas on this. We'll read. Nanda madam, would you like to read?
197. Ah, so happily we live without hate among those with hate. Among people who hate, we live without hate. 198. Ah, so happily we live without affliction among those afflicted by defilements. Among afflicted people we live without affliction. 199. Ah, so happily we live without agitation among those agitated by the pursuit of sense pleasures. Among people who are agitated, we live without agitation. 200. Ah, so happily we live, we who have no defilements. We shall feast on joy as do the gods in the Abhasara Brahma world.
Nanda madam, will stop here and then we'll continue. We'll go through it in detail, like how can we put it in our practice and what's the saying. Do you want to like elaborate if maybe first two verses that we just read?
Yes, even when we live among people who sadly have hate in their feelings, we should make an effort to live a happy, make an effort to have happy feelings, because happy feelings generate happy conditions. When we should make an effort to live without any afflictions and without any defilements, even among people who has afflictions and defilements. I guess our practice metta siksā help us to bit by bit weaken our unwholesome states and weaken our defilements, and therefore slowly and gradually create a relaxation and joy and tranquility and happiness in our lives, which is a blessing actually, to practice, have the opportunity to practice the metta siksā technique to create tranquility and happiness, and eventually to move into a collectedness and samadhi, and hopefully when the conditions are right to experience cessation of suffering and liberation.
Yes, Nanda madam. Actually, I have another translation by Venerable Acharya Buddharakita Banteji. And I'll just read the same first four verses. Happy indeed we live, friendly amidst the hostile. Amidst hostile men, we dwell free from hatred. Happy indeed we live, unafflicted, amidst the afflicted by craving. Amidst afflicted men, we dwell free from affliction. Happy indeed we live, free from avarice. Among the avarious men, we dwell free from avarice. Happy indeed we live, we possess nothing. Feeders on joy, we shall be like the radiant gods. So here, when we see happy indeed we live, here we means the practitioner who is practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. They live happily. Where are they living? This is all of the society where we have people hitting each other. Even in that hateful environment, we live happily without hate, without ill will. We live even among the hateful people with a happy, peaceful, loving kindness kind of mind. And also, there are outside people, like people who do not know the Dhamma. There are people having affliction, who have inner hatred, who are afflicted with their own defilements. They don't know how they are behaving. Even in those kind of environment, the practitioner who is the noble eightfold path follower, like the meditator, the wise, the mindful one, can live happy even among difficult environments, even in heat, even when there is the society or the community around is afflicted, or even when there is agitation. Even they, what happens is, if somebody is angry, normally if there is no mindfulness, we try to beat back the same anger or just reflect it back. But if we are mindful enough, even if the opposite person is agitated, anxious, or even if the person is hitting you, if there is enough mindfulness established, enough samadhi established within us, then through mindfulness, whatever kind of situation it might be, we can keep the equanimity. Our mind can be experiencing calm state without any inner hatred, without ill will, and having the feeling of loving kindness, remembering that the person is suffering. We can having happily feeling loving kindness to ourselves, then to them as well. So this happiness, any kind of surrounding. First, it's talking about hateful people. Even among them, we live without hate. Even if there are persons who are afflicted by their defilements, even there we can live and we live happy. And even there are people who are agitated, and we live without agitation among them. And if there are some people, and we who have no defilements, gradually through the practice, when we let go of all of our defilements, then definitely this is how we are going to live. Like, we shall feast on joy, and that is how we live. That this happiness that is coming, the unconditional happiness of the Dhamma, is very difficult to explain, yet to be experienced is easier. When we keep practicing, our mind tends and inclines towards the calm and peaceness of the joy of the samadhi. And then no defilements in that particular state. And even after that, gradually, through the practice of Noble Eightfold Path, we live happily. Like the gods in the Abhasara Brahma world, we live in this world. Anybody would like to read from here?
Go ahead, Sindhu. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Shall I read?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So from 201, right? Victory.
Yes.
Victory gives rise to hate. The defeated dwell in pain. Giving up both victory and defeat, the sage dwells happily. There is no fire like lust, no crime like hate, no suffering like the 5 groups of clinging, and no happiness higher than Nibbāna. Hunger is the worst illness. Conditioned things, the worst suffering. For one who knows this as it really is, Nibbāna is the foremost happiness. Good health is the most precious gain, and happiness born from realization of the truth is the greatest wealth. Trust is the greatest relative. Nibbāna, the highest happiness. By tasting the flavor of solitude and drinking the flavor of the excellent peace, Nibbāna, the monk becomes free of distress and evil. It is good to see the noble ones. Their company is always a delight. Free from the sight of fools, beings will always be happy. One who keeps company with fools will be sad for a long, long time. Living with fools is painful, as is living with enemies. Living with the wise is delightful, like relatives gathered together. Therefore, follow the noble ones who are energetic, wise, knowledgeable, committed to virtue, and dutiful. One should follow such a grateful person who is truly wise, as the moon always dwells in the sky. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yes, Saranji, thank you for reading wonderful verses when by the Buddha. It really gives different perspective when you keep reading. Like first time, second time, third time, or maybe after a few days when you go back, depending upon continuing of your practice. Same sutta, same verses gives different kind of understanding. That's the greatness of the Buddha's teaching. Yes, Pai, you have messaged. You have an observation? Yes, please share. It's about victory. Okay. I think the monk said never to gamble. Yes, even if you win, the other person, then the other person is resentful. Yes, and vice versa. Yes, everything like in any kind of situation, it's two extremes, going to this side or the other side, and the middle path is the key. So it's best not to gamble. Yes, it's true. And when we read here, it's a learning. Like as you see here, anything in the extreme is not good. Through the senses, through the, what do you say? Through any kind of experience, like even food, listening, seeing pleasant sights or unpleasant sights. You keep on going into it, overindulgence, and then once you come out, you regret, oh, I have gone to that extreme, just back off. And then not even giving a little attention and going, being in some other world. That also kind of, it's another kind of extreme. So the Buddha, when he gave the first sermon itself, he said that there are two extremes that should be avoided. The first one being completely indulging in the sensual pleasures and not even bothering about the practice. And the other extreme is severe aesthetic practices where you take only one grain of food and letting the body dry up, practicing extreme kind of asceticism. So it's not like going to that extreme and this extreme. Anything that you see, when you are following the middle path is the key. In any kind of situation, middle path comes up by itself. You apply the Noble Eightfold formula, then the answer is right there in front of you. So we'll see this as well. We are running on time. Let's just discuss few things. Actually, very inspiring these verses are. Victory gives rise to hate. And definitely the other person starts hitting us that you have won and I have got defeated and now I'm in pain. So giving up both victory and defeat. So the sage dwells happily. So here we are practicing the Noble Eightfold Path, not to win, not to defeat, but to stay happily. In any way, even when we were kids, if you could remember, we used to get first in the class. Then maybe in second grade, third grade, fourth grade, you have been first. Some people might start hating you, and all of a sudden in the fifth class, you might have not been the first. So now you start being the painful person. So not going to that extreme, not going to the extreme, and the middle path is always happy. First the happiness, then not going into the extremes. And all this is possible only through the practice of mindfulness, right view, and right effort. There is no fire like lust, no crime like hate, no suffering like the 5 groups of clinging. So the 5 groups of clinging are clinging to 5 aggregates: the form, the feeling, perception, the formation, and the consciousness. All these sufferings come when we cling to these 5 aggregates. And there is no suffering like the 5 groups of clinging. And there is no happiness found in this world higher than the Nibbāna. Hunger is the worst illness. And definitely Buddha has said this here. And when you're hungry, when you're not fed well, or when you have not taken enough food required for your body, it's very difficult to meditate as well. Given enough food, then only we can meditate. That's why the Buddha has said this. Hunger is the worst illness. Conditioned things, the worst suffering. All these conditioned things are suffering. For one who knows this as it really is, like being the truth and understanding it, that person knows that Nibbāna is the foremost happiness. All these sensual pleasures are just impermanent, and Nibbāna is the only happiness that we can attain. Good health is the most precious gem, most precious gain, because when we are healthy, it's easier for us to sit down and practice meditation and learn it when health is good. When we are not healthy, it becomes difficult to learn at that point. Rather, if we learn it when the body is supporting us, then even though the body is not supporting us to sit and meditate, our mind can still be in state of samadhi. We can train our mind in that particular. So good health is the most precious key. And happiness born from realization of the truth is the greatest will. Trust is the greatest relative. Nibbāna, the highest happiness. By tasting the flavors of solitude and drinking the flavors of the excellent peace, Nibbāna, the monk becomes free of distress and endurance. So a monk who is ordained, has been practicing solitude, who has tasted the flavor of solitude, and drinking the flavors of excellent peace of Nibbāna, who has attained Nibbāna and has tasted the flavor of it. That monk is free from evil, free of stress. It is good to see the noble ones. Their company is always a delight. Free from sight of fools, beings will always be happy. It's really wonderful. These are like self-explanatory. Definitely, it's good to see a monk. Even in a Mangala Sutta, it's given that visiting a monk, having a timely discussion on the Dhamma, even the sight of a monk is a some Mangal. It says that it's a blessing. One who keeps company with fools will be sad for a long time. Living with fools is painful, as is living with enemies. Living with the wise is delightful, like relatives gathered together. Definitely, when we have friends in the practice of the Dhamma together, come together, it really feels like a family, like a relatives gathering together, because all of those minds incline towards the same path. So it really feels like a family. Therefore, follow the noble ones who are energetic, wise, knowledgeable, committed to virtue, and beautiful. One should follow such a grateful person who is truly wise, as the moon always dwells in the sky. So the Buddha is giving us a lot of things for us to practice. There are so many things that we read today that keeps us reminding to keep our practice going for the next couple of days. That's wonderful. Anybody has something to share?
Yes, Sindhu, can I see?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, what I loved about the reading today was emphasis on immense belief in the Dhamma, the Buddha, and the Saṅgha. Only when we believe the teachings, when we give our full belief in the teachings, and without any doubt, even as our practice progresses, there shouldn't be any moment of doubt. So a complete belief in the entire teaching is when we close our eyes, we are fully into it, into the teachings, and then even when we are in the meditative state, we have the belief on. So I really liked the thing, and even reading the precepts every day and keep reminding us of the precepts also, because in my personal practice I will say precepts have been uh, the first major what really helped me to step up my practice was during the day, that whenever we fall into any kind of an unwholesome state of mind, the precept is what brings us back to the present state, and that's how actively during our when we are conducting through the day, it helps us to stay in the meditative state. So this reading was very beautiful, and thank you for reading it up. I really, I mean, whenever I get a chance, I don't. I mean, I try not to miss this session because every time the readings are very wonderful. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Chayati. Actually, the faith that we are talking about, the confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Saṅgha, it's really wonderful. It's not like a blind kind of faith that just keep the precepts or believe in that like any other religion. The faith here comes through the practice, and it's really wonderful. I, in my personal practice, did not believe in the beginning and just used to take the refuges for the sake of taking it. And then, but I started keeping my precepts in the beginning. And later on, when I had that happiness, the confidence in the Buddha that come up, it was really so strong that built my confidence naturally through the practice. It's not like blindly just believing, taking the refuges and just keep going through the opposites. That internal confidence that comes up through the practice, it's really helped me to establish myself on the path.
In
And
our
it's
case, we were very lucky that we had met Bante Aruno. So Puneet Bante. So he was the one who introduced us to the precepts. So that's how, like even in the teachings we read today, that stay with the wise ones. So, and you also said that keep visit a monk, and also it really makes a difference. Whenever we are in touch with such wise people, they take us to the next level. So yeah, their teachings are like beyond, they're very precious. So we have been blessed in that way. So that's how the faith in the Dhamma and the Saṅgha is like just immeasurable, it's immeasurable. Yes.
yes, and it's wonderful that we can relate it to in our own practice, the way we have come ahead in our own practices, the faith that we have developed in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Saṅgha, and what Chaya just said, visiting a monk. And the moment you visit a monk, the moment you start speaking, it just completely lifts up your mind. It makes your day. You're just smiling and laughing. Like your mind is completely in a different state for that few days, for a couple of days. And I just want to share something regarding how it affected my own daughter. We actually prepared some food and took to the monastery. We gave to the monks, and I didn't go. I was taking care of my daughter. And when Sachin went, it's like exactly at the time when they were sharing the merits. My daughter, who is like unable to speak anything, not even able to understand what we are speaking, has that energy and that sharing coming up from Pantes, and she's all of a sudden smiling, giggling, and all happy. She's excited. It's really wonderful that that energy is working on her, and she could able to feel that merit coming through that streams of wholesome activities that we are doing, and it's really affecting her, and it's really incalculable, immeasurable merit that we are gaining through the practice of the loving kindness as well. It has actually made me feel a lot much happier, and it's like an inspiration to keep practicing the Dhamma again and again. Each moment, yes, you keep doing it. Remembering to smile, remembering to establish right view, right effort, right mindfulness, and letting the mind settle in right collectedness, along with the practice of the precepts. Anybody has anything to share? Add something?
Yes, I do agree with everybody. The right right practice, the right effort that we practice every day with radiating metta and practicing the saṁsāra has found a transformation effect on our minds. It happens bit by bit, but with persistence, with daily practice, it is amazing when we look back how our mind has changed in a very, very positive way, and how the suttas come to life actually. Thank you very much for choosing this topic. It is very beautiful. All the readings are really beautiful and very practical, and we can see the results ourselves. Thank you very much, Sindhu.
Thank you, Nanda Madam. And I'm so grateful that we as a lay Saṅgha are able to maintain the consistency and keep the practice in our own life. and knowing that the teaching is incredible and practical in this generation as well. And I'm so happy to have this Saṅgha. Thank you, everyone, and we'll share the merit. Everybody can join us in the sharing of the merits. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear stuck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired, the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings in heaven, space and earth, devas, nagas, mighty power, share this merit of power. May they long protect and see. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you Gopinath sir, thank you Chaya madam, thank you Sachinji, thank you Nanda madam, thank you Paul, thank you Pai.
Yes, I would like to just tell a
Thank you
bit
so
to Pai.
much.
Pai has asked one question related to victory. I will be sharing the chat GPT link of TWIM so that you can access.
I think it's
I have
a
shared.
observation that he shared, not a question.
Fine.
And yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine, Pai. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Wishing you all happiness.